Welcome, dear friends and faithful keepers of the stories that keep Turkey dreaming. You're tuned into Whispers of Turkish Stars, your secret window into the moments when glamour blurs into confession. Tonight, we step inside a dazzling evening brimming with camera flashes, couture gowns, and carefully rehearsed smiles, yet all eyes were drawn not to the sheen, but to a conspicuous absence. The night was designed to honor cinema, but it spiraled into a question of the heart. Our focus is the recent red carpet appearance of Gökberk Yildirim, a moment meant to be triumphant, that instead ignited 1,000 whispers about what and who wasn't there. Before we unravel this tangle of glances and gaps, we ask for your support. Subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars, hit like if you value stories told with care, and consider clicking the join button so we can continue bringing you thoughtful, respectful coverage of the stars you love. Everything had been set for a victory lap. The spotlights framed the entrance like a stage, the photographers braced with fingers tight on their shutters, and the organizers held their breath. When Gökberk Yildirim stepped out, elegance did the talking, a suit fitted with surgical precision, posture calm but commanding, and that smile of his that lives somewhere between sincerity and secrecy. Yet as the flashes burst across the carpet like cascading fireworks, a low hum started to travel across the crowd, one that grew louder than the applause, heavier than the perfume in the air. Where was Cemre Arda? Her absence hung over the moment like a blackout during a spotlight solo. Cemre, whose quiet grace has often been the counterweight to Gökberk's public magnetism, was nowhere to be seen. In an industry built on the illusion that image can complete a sentence, a vacant space beside a partner becomes an invitation for fantasy. Within minutes, the gentle murmurs turned into a digital crescendo. Why isn't Cemre there? Did something happen? Are they keeping a distance? The questions spiraled outward, faster than the premiere's own momentum. And to understand why those questions landed so hard, we need to step back and look at this couple's history. Gökberk Yildirim and Cemre Arda have never been the walking headline type. They aren't the couple that courts the cameras for sport. If anything, they've crafted a kind of sanctuary of their own, even while living beneath the public gaze. Few hand-in-hand parades. Few dramatic declarations. Barely any performative PDA. Instead, they've chosen almost invisible gestures, unspoken shorthand, a bond that seems to breathe without needing the oxygen of a crowd. Which is precisely why this particular absence, on this particular night, felt so thunderous. When two people known for being quietly present suddenly leave a frame unfilled, silence becomes a language of its own, and everyone scrambles to translate it. On the red carpet, Gökberk carried himself like a man who understands both the machine and the myth. He joked with colleagues, embraced fans, and spoke about the film with a craftsman's intensity, digging into scenes and choices and the joy of collaboration. But there was an invisible line drawn around him, a gentle but firm border that kept certain questions on the other side. When reporters inevitably tried to pivot from the film to his private life, he answered with a practiced grace, never defensive, never explosive, but elusive. A chess move wrapped in a smile. It wasn't frost. It wasn't stonewalling. It was the calm diplomacy of someone who knows how to move through a storm without letting his coat get wet. And that choice, to speak so carefully, told a story of its own, stoking a wildfire of speculation he may have hoped to avoid. Dear viewers of Whispers of Turkish Stars, what do you make of it? Is this pure professionalism or the shielding of something tender from prying eyes? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to hit join so we can continue to bring you these layered, respectful narratives without compromise. Meanwhile, a second story was unfolding behind the curtains, far less romantic than the internet's favored plotline. Those who know the brutal rhythm of Turkish sets whispered a simpler explanation: work. According to insiders, Cemre was pinned down by a merciless filming schedule. Night shoots that bleed into dawn, rehearsals that demand the body and the voice, calendars that erase holidays and ignore red carpets. The reasoning seemed almost undeniable. Without the gift of being in two places at once, how could Cemre walk a premiere and deliver on set in the same breath? People close to the pair insisted, almost exasperated, that nothing between them had shifted. The narrative racing through social media, they said, had outrun the truth by several miles. But reason rarely wins against emotion in the theater of gossip. Silence becomes a blank canvas where every fan splashes their fears, hopes, and projections. Many admirers, perhaps the more pragmatic ones, accepted the scheduling explanation without a stutter, acknowledging that Cemre's star is rising, and allegiance to work is sacred. Others struggled to shake an itch of worry. They pointed out that we haven't seen the two together in a while. That their socials now feel like two parallel journals rather than a shared album. That on a night of big stakes for him, her world appeared elsewhere on a set, under cold lights, surrounded by crew coffee and cables. And through it all, those directly concerned answered with nothing. No written statement, no heated denial, no syrupy public reassurance. For those who have followed their journey, that quiet isn't necessarily proof of distance, it's their pattern. Their way of refusing to feed a machine already running too hot. Even so, the industry has begun to murmur. There's chatter about a carefully timed joint sighting, a single deliberate appearance meant to close the loop and settle the dust. The promise of clarity has, for now, become its own storyline. What couldn't be ignored was Gökberk's posture once the premiere's formalities were over. Away from the microphones, among colleagues, he seemed looser, lighter. Chatting about performances, direction, rhythms, and beats, anchoring the conversation in craft. When someone nudged the topic back toward his private life, he guided it, almost invisibly, back to cinema. Perhaps it was strategy. Perhaps it was love, defended by discretion. Depending on who you ask, it was either textbook crisis management or a silent pact between two people guarding what they cherish. And Cemre? Her absence on the carpet echoed across the night, and her absence on his feed echoed too. No congratulatory post. No snapshot in a dress before a car ride. Her recent uploads have a different current running through them, candid snatches of long nights, quick laughter between takes, the steady hum of work as armor. To her supporters, this reads as a woman who values duty and refuses to break a team's momentum for a photo call. To skeptics, it feels like avoidance with glossy lighting. There's also a harsher interpretation on the table. Maybe they've decided to cinch the drawstrings of their privacy even tighter. Maybe the relentless commentary, the analysis of gestures, the tallying of likes, the fixation on proximity has exhausted them to the point of choosing invisibility when it matters most. Yet others insist that absence has symbolism. In the unwritten etiquette of celebrity relationships, showing up at a partner's big moment is its own love letter. Not showing up, some argue, is also a statement. Is it distance? Is it discontent? Or is it simply a collision of calendars that looks like a metaphor to those hungry for one? An extra layer emerged during the event. It wasn't just fans asking about her. Producers, casting directors, and the kind of industry figures whose phone calls change lives, were glancing around for Cemre. Did she have to cancel at the last second? One of them asked, half curious, half calculating. Curiosity isn't exclusive to the tabloids, it lives inside the business, too. Later that night, a couple of heavy hitters leaned toward Gökberk with gentle probes, trying to read between his words. He met them with that impenetrable politeness and an unwavering smile. Meanwhile, on Cemre's socials, the images told a parallel tale, cranes arcing above set lights, crew clustered against the cold, scene numbers chalked onto clappers, and a clock that clearly didn't care about premieres. If those timestamps were honest, her presence beside him would have been physiologically impossible. And yet, for those who love subtext, the timing still stings. A milestone night for him, lived without her hand at his elbow. It's not the first time they've danced with rumor and outlasted it. Time and again, they've declined the melodrama and leaned into endurance. If there is a rift, and we say if it has never been their style to weaponize volume. This is why the stillness now shouldn't be misread as apathy. For some, it's not distance but a decision. A boundary set by two adults who know what it costs to let the crowd into every room. But they remain public figures, and the audience lives almost symbiotically with them, longing for clarity. In the days to come, one party, one awards stage, one faintly lit restaurant doorway could flip the script. If that moment doesn't come, the silence will continue to be broken apart and rearranged by those determined to find messages in pauses. That is the price and the poetry of fame. The parts you don't say are often the loudest. For now, this is where we stand, unverified, unresolved, but irresistibly compelling. One photograph, Gökberk Yildirim and Cemre are side by side, stepping into a car or sharing a laugh outside a private dinner, could snuff out the wildfire by morning. Until then, the unsaid remains the headline. We close tonight's reflection here on Whispers of Turkish Stars with a thought their story keeps teaching us: the border between private life and public duty is thin, and silence can be its own thunder. We'll be listening, watching, and waiting, ready to bring you the moment that tilts this narrative toward certainty. Do you believe the work explanation, or do you sense a deeper chapter being written off stage? Tell us below. If you appreciated the care and fairness we brought to this delicate topic, please like and share. And remember, the best way to be part of our family and ensure we continue telling these stories with nuance and honesty is to click join. Your support keeps the lights on and the conversation true. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you in the next video.